Hey Brahman, just thought I'd get this video off to you that I told you I was going to get you. So anyhow, I just got done warming her up at a lawn trot. It's a little chilly today, so she was a little on the spunky side, but luckily I didn't have to lunge her. So we'll see. Hopefully, I didn't do any loping, so we'll see what that does. But I'm going to put her back up into a trot here. So what I'm working on right now is with the way that she twists in her neck in the pole, I'm asking her to work on her rein changing. So going from one neck rein to the other neck rein and then back to the neck rein. So what I'm doing right now is prepping her to be able to shift her body onto the new outside neck rein so that when we get ready for lead changes, she already has an idea based on that. So that's really, really basic as far as that goes. And then that'll also help with any one-handed riding that you might want to do. So I'm just asking her to respond right now to a proper left side neck rein. When she doesn't, I just kind of collect this left shoulder back a little bit and drop the inside ear a tish, but every time she tries to lean on that left shoulder, inside shoulder, I just give it a little collection. Ask her to stretch into it, relax it, but don't rush. Right here, she's lost collection on that left shoulder, so her steering wheel kind of got a little wonky, and she decided to drift. Now we're switching rein side, and she's still on my other rein. She needs to get onto my left rein now, because now my left rein is my new neck rein, but she's leaning on the right side. There, I just picked her shoulder up, tucked it a little bit. Asking her, there she rushed. Stay back with me. There we go. So I just rebalance her. Ask her to stay nice and steady. Stay in my hands. She's doing a good job with that. She just chose to rock back a little bit there. I'm going to shrink the circle a little bit so I can test out my neck rein in, make sure that my outside leg is able to get on her. Then I know that I've got proper bend in the right spot and that she's not overbent. So I can lay that rein against her. I can get my leg on her. There she decided to come off the neck rein and lean on the brace on that right shoulder. So I just gave a little soft little tweak on the right inside rein. Now I'm going to shrink the circle again. A little bit more. Rock her back even a tish more. Ask her to collect that inside shoulder so she can come around with the neck rein better. This also works on the inside flexion so that when I start going to haunches in practice, she's already started suppling the rib cage, making it easier for her to drive that inside hind underneath her. Now I'm going to open up my circle. Ask her to stay balanced right here. She wants to cut the corner a little bit, so I'm just going to pick that shoulder up just a tish. Now I'm going to do some shallow serpentines where she has to adjust quicker to changes of rein. That wasn't too bad. Here she's coming above my hands, so I'm just going to rebalance, collect her back, give her the reins again. As long as she's staying steady and paced. Now it's going to be a right neck rein. She's not quite coming around with this left shoulder. There she kind of came around. Now it's going to be the right shoulder that has to come back. Just a tish. She's just a little above me. I'm slowing her down more and more till she gets back adjusted. There we go. And we'll just stay in the little trot for a little bit here. I'm going to ask her to do a little circle here. So she's more curled in the neck than she is rounded in the back. So I'm just going to ask her to set herself back a little bit. And that's going to naturally make her have to lift her head enough to come back to me. So I'm going to let her break here and there while I ask her to just shrink her box a little and get into a deeper level of collection. Right here, she really wants to leave that inside shoulder uncollected, which makes it really hard for her to come around. So I'm going to keep asking her to collect it and then give her the space to do it, and then collect her and give her the space to do it. Her rhythm is struggling a little bit, but she needs to be able to control her drive. Well, and I ask her for that. Good. And drive it underneath instead of running up into her neck so that she ends up hitting my hand. Okay, now we'll do this flexion bend. Get her on this neck ring. Nice small circle so that she has to drive those hind legs up underneath her. I'm trying to change her parallelogram so that when you do your Western pleasure, she looks like she's rocked back more because she doesn't have a lot of speed as far as going fast. She's just covering ground. So her stride needs to be more up and down and less forward. And so that's what I'm trying to get her to learn, is how to bring this inside hind up and then the other hind up all individually. And as she gets better and better at it, she'll be able to bring both of them back at the same time, sitting down on her hind end. So what happens is I can only let her go for about 2 strides, and then she wants to do a straight line and change the shape of my circle so she doesn't have to drive the inside hind up as much. So now we'll switch directions. She's probably getting dizzy. So I've got my outside leg on right now, just asking her to come around. My inside leg is slightly forward, giving soft little bumps just to ask her to come around. Right there, I had to rock her back 2 or 3 times with the inside rein just to say, shift that inside of your body so that you can come around. Well, I just have my outside rein laid against her, but it's not laid against her so tight that she can't like bend into it, flex into it. She needs a place for her body to go. There we go. There's an adjustment. Okay, now we're going to go back up into, now we're going to try the canter work, which I haven't done yet. So I'm going to just ask her to come back to me. So when she puts her head down where she stays in the bit, she's gotten good at pulling down with her shoulders and trailing out behind. So that's why I'm asking her to really curl and round up, because she needs to bring her shoulders up. Right there, she doesn't want to do it, so I'm going to ask her to back up. Staying round with me. Good. And then we'll go forward again. That's just to readjust that body a little more manually, sit the butt down. Her pull is tight, so then that's why she doesn't want to be lifting the shoulders, because she has to actually open things up. Her withers are tight, I guess. I did the energetics this morning and her withers were really tight. So there you go. Let's ask her for a lope depart. Just over trying a little too much. So I'm not going to get after her. I'm just going to ask her to focus on her right hind. Good girl. To depart. And what I want her to do is just be soft enough that I can ask her to come around easy. So I'm going to bring her down because she feels like a board. If I touch her head, she wants to elevate her head. She's just like locked. It doesn't feel like I can move her around without making her butt pop. She was setting against my rein a little too much. So I'm just asking her to soften that inside hind a little bit. Now we're just going to throw it in. Go the other way. And that way she's dropping behind her shoulder blades and popping her back end. And you can hear the distress in my voice, so easy. We're going to ask her to come back. Encourage her to Relax that inside hind. Put her weight on her back end. I'm going to take her head away from her both ways because she gets locked into a very set posture. And it's really hard to change her directions, either left, right, or settle back. So there you go. We'll ask her for a departure again. Okay, the first few strides started out all right. Just getting a little tight. I'm going to ask her to come down easy, easy. She's locking her stifles, hocks, and back. So I'm going to ask her to come back here. Change directions a little bit, play with her mind as well as her body and back. So she has really got the boing going today. Okay, so realign her back up, ask her to be soft for me. And we're gonna say, now she elevated, dropped her shoulders right there. She's prepping for the departure. I'm just gonna take her face away and just say, come on, don't think so much. Let's just get relaxed here. Soften up. Don't go above my hand. She's locking who. So I'm going to back her off because she's locking on me. Okay. Need you to give. Good. We'll ask her off again. Okay. And every time I ask her to move, I'm just going to say, come on. Let's just push it through. Come on. Over trying. So now I'm going to do a different approach because I've done the other a few times. She's still locking that inside right hind. So I'm going to push her forward now. Instead, just try to rock her back through it. And I'm going to do a series of ask her to lope through, easy, bring down to a trot, take her in a smaller way so I can break that back a little bit. Get these shoulders to kind of open up. Take her this way just a tish. Take her this way. She twists in her pole this way, so then that changes how it travels through her shoulder and then through her back. So I'm just encouraging her. She doesn't give quite in the right spot this way. So she's making it hard for herself. Okay, I'm going to ask her to come down easy. But I'm going to have her, when she comes down, I'm going to have her come down, go right into a flexion circle. Asking her for that right hind. Because then that way she can't set on my reins or on my hand. Take her over here. And I only pull as much as what it takes for me to feel the shoulder respond. Once I feel the shoulder response and a setback, like right there, she went to rush there, and she slowed down for me, so I'm going to ask her off. It's getting a little bit better, but easy. Just as I say that, she starts to lock up her hocks again. Easy. We're going to take her into her little workout. Get that right hind to kind of come up under. There you go. And just to break it up so she doesn't start feeling bad about herself, we're going to get her rocking back over her back end this way and then ask her off again. Nope. Round lead. There we go. Easy. She started giving me less good response. The reaction to my hand when I was asking her to soften up was getting more and more stiff and throwing her back end into more boiny. So I'm just asking her, come rocking back. I'm going to ask her to do it at a walk. Drive that hind. up underneath. There we go. Not just swing her hip to the outside, but actually drive up underneath and get a roundness to her. Okay? Now we'll ask her off. Good girl. Ask her to soften. She's locking a little bit. Got a little bit of a positive response. Not too bad. Good girl. Easy. That was a better lope. Not as bracy, and she let me play with her a little bit. Where I felt a little bit of a melt response instead of a prickle response. So that was good. It didn't feel like I just hit a metal or a brick wall with her face, and then she starts boinging my back. She actually kind of gave and softened and rocked back. Now she's a little forward again. So I'm going to pick up the shoulder that's really kind of causing the problem, which is this inside shoulder. There we go. Good girl. Picked it up, rocked it back. She got a little lazy with it, but at least she did the response I was looking for, which was sit back, stop pushing so big and fast. Good girl. And we'll ask her for a lope. Now she's leaning. So I'm going to soften this up again. Don't lean. Good girl. Okay, she's starting to drop her shoulders. We're gonna, and then that makes her back end pop. So we're gonna put her back into a supple and trot here, and just keep doing this over and over. Go the other way just to change it up a little bit. And then go this way. She wants to rush it, so I'm gonna do a little more back motion with my tug. More back motion, get her to come back. She's just running through it, so I'm going to ask her. And running through it, yeah, I know I use the word running, but, you know, those cliche terms that actually have a different meaning than what you are taught. Running through it just wasn't meaning that she was going fast. She was just ignoring it and not responding in a back motion. Right here, she just wants to keep her body long, so I'm just encouraging her to give it through the inside of her body. She wants to get a little tuggy walk. Back up. We're going to change direction, rock her back over the top. Come on. Okay, so since she's deciding to be a little bit stiff about that, I'm going to keep asking her to rock back over that hawk. Come on, hon. Gotta move your shoulders. There you go. Good girl. Okay. Ask her off again in a trot. And then we'll lope her off again. She came unglued. So I'm going to take her face away from her, unlock her front feet. Got emotional about it. There we go. Now that softened a little bit. Let's try to get, she's leaning again. Okay, rebalanced. Good girl. I felt her put her weight back onto her left hind before she took off, instead of throwing it onto her right front. Good, easy. That was good. I wanted to get that before she destroyed it. By locking her front end down and going popping. Okay. And then bring her down. Her reward was a walking transition down instead of having to go back to work to loosen something up, because she didn't tighten up too much. I mean, it was not perfect, but that was a good response in her lope where she held it for a period of time. Okay. Now we're going to ask her off again. So that's her twisting herself onto her left shoulder, off of my right one, locking down. There we go. No. We're going to ask her off again. No. And then again. Good girl. There you go. Good. I like that she's waiting on me. And easy. Good. And that was better too. So I'm going to end with that because that was that was really coming around where she was starting to use her thinking side and starting to open up and relax. And then we'll just repeat that again the next ride. So, well, I hope you enjoyed the update, and hope Oklahoma feels nice and warm. And we'll talk to you again soon, okay? Bye-bye.